Hello, and welcome to the DCIFF Film Chat Podcast. I'm Erin DeVos, and I'll be your host for this season. Join us for insightful interviews that explore the work of up-and-coming independent filmmakers from all over the world. If you're passionate about film and keen to learning about the creative process from the future cinema greats, this podcast is a must-listen for you. Our mission is to provide listeners with the engaging and informative conversations about successful and innovative films, including features, shorts, documentaries, animation, and web series from across the globe. The DCIFF Film Chat Podcast is a unique opportunity for independent filmmakers to have their voices heard in a way no other film festival can provide. You can listen to the DCIFF Film Chat Podcast on all podcast platforms or visit our website at DCIFF-indie.org/DCIFF-podcast. Thank you. Welcome, Anthony, to the DCIFF Film Chat Podcast. I'm super thrilled to be chatting with you today about your film, MAXXIE, LAWOW, Drag SUPER-SHERO. The film will be premiering on Sunday, February 16th at 7:45 p.m. So again, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. And thank you so much for selecting MAXXIE LAWOW for the DCIFF. So thrilled to be coming back to DC. I used to live in DC, and this is a little bit of a homecoming for me. I lived in Washington, DC for 2 years after college in the mid-90s. And then I came back to DC for a summer internship at the World Bank when I was in grad school. So DC has a special place in my heart, and I am thrilled to be coming back. I don't come back nearly as often as I should, so definitely looking forward to this visit.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, we're super excited to be having you, hosting you, and premiering in DC. So it's going to be an awesome time. And wow, what a film as well. So can't wait to dive right in. And if you don't mind just sharing a little bit about yourself and as well as your film.
Sure. So I am a first-time filmmaker. This is my first time dipping my toes into filmmaking. And for some crazy reason, I decided to, really dive straight into the deep end with animation, which is, quite an undertaking. But I'm glad to say that I think it turned out really well. We've been getting tons of great audience response around the country, and I can't wait to take it around the world as well. So let me tell you a little bit about the film for the viewers. So MAXXIE LAWOW tells the story of Simon, a shy young barista who finds a magic wig that turns him into the titular drag SUPER-SHERO, MAXXIE LAWOW. And we have a drag villain as well. Her name is Diabolical. And Dinah's discovered that drag queen tears have magical anti-aging properties. So she's been kidnapping queens and forcing them to watch the saddest movie ever made, which we cannot call some 80s movie that takes place with some ladies on some beaches, to drain with her magical tears and launch a new cosmetics line. And now she's after MAXXIE. And this is a film that's accessible to anyone who loves drag, anyone who just, loves just to get out and see a fun animated film.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And well said as well. Like, I feel this is such a unique storyline. And, as a first time filmmaker, too, like, I'll back up even there, like, how you just dove into the animation process and truly well done, like, in terms of the craft and the visuals and the storyline. I'm truly a fan. So it's awesome to be able to welcome it to DCIFF. And as you mentioned too, like how, this movie's for everyone and the film blends well with like drag culture and as well with superhero storytelling. What made you want to merge these two worlds?
Oh my goodness. Well, back in, I think it was 2018, after seeing yet another comic book film, I just wanted to watch a film with an LGBTQ superhero in it. And I started looking around and I couldn't find anything. And so I started meditating on the idea or the question of who who would a queer superhero be? And the short answer, of course, is that a queer superhero could be anyone and could have any kind of power. But I am a huge fan of RuPaul's Drag Race, and I've been watching the series since season one, actually, a long time ago. And I was really inspired by the story that many of the queens tell as they're getting ready for the runway, where they talk about how as their street persona, they may be shy, they may be introverted, and but as they go through the process of getting into drag, putting on the wig, putting on the makeup, putting on the costume, it's a transformative process. They often talk about how they go from being the shy, maybe introverted person to a person who feels strong and emboldened and empowered. And they often talk about how this rag feels like an armor against the barbs and the insults and injustice in the society. So I just found that so incredibly inspiring, and I figured that that would make a great story.
Hmm. Yeah, no, indeed it has. And I love how the design like really shines too, like, on the queens and as well as through like the character development. And as I'm thinking about it, like through like the character design, like how did you craft like the look of Maxie and the other queens?
Wow. So in 2020, right not too long after the COVID shutdown started, that's when I sort of came up with Diabolical story first. Worked with a local drag queen actor director in San Francisco to write the story, write the script, take my crazy ideas and turn it into a script. And then I worked with a local character designer who does a ton of illustration for local drag queens. And we spent 6 months working on the character designs for Maxie and Diabolical. 6 months. And so in the depths of COVID, we're doing this like random, you know, nights and weekends like fun thing. And we really decided to go with the popping pinks for Maxi and the popping jewel toned purples for our drag villain Diabolical. So yeah, it's so much fun. And then the animation team we ended up working with for this process, they were able to take these base designs and really just extend those designs into this fabulous like 90s, jewel tone colors popping off the screen. It's just so magical.
Hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. The colors even reminded me of like, my younger self when I watched like Barbie and like Bratz like on
Yeah.
TV. So like seeing like those colors pop and then bringing your vision to life, I was just like, wow, like this is so awesome. Very much a different storyline, but like having like those visuals and kind of that type of animation is really what I saw come through.
And I'd say we were really inspired by especially these 90s cartoons, 80s, 90s, like Gem and the Holograms and Sailor Moon,
Yeah.
and She-Ra and some other ones. So we really wanted to take that aesthetic and sort of modernize a little bit, but just remain true to that kind of 90s root.
Absolutely. Yeah. And yeah, thinking on that too, like how drag is like all about expressing personality and movement. What would you say is was challenging to capture that in the animation?
Oh, well, you're that's a great insight actually. So one thing we did when we recorded the voices back in 2021, we recorded the video of the actors in the studio. And we leveraged that video to help inspire the movement of the characters. So we're all in lockdown. We're all like in different places around the country recording these voiceovers. And then the animators are all US based all around the country as well. So they had those references at least. But, really every scene in the movie, there's so much expressive body movement. And that's even before we get into the lip sync numbers. So there's a lip sync number for the villain, a lip sync number for the hero, and an aerial lip sync duel at the end. So you can see so much body movement and expression throughout pretty much every scene. And they just did a great job on it.
Hmm. Oh, definitely. Yeah, no, that's so cool. Always love to hear, how it translated, like, whether it was like a real life event, like to the film itself. So that's cool to get that better understanding. And how did you choose the voice cast for the film?
That's a great question. So there is a wonderful queer voiceover actor in Hollywood named JP Karliak. And JP founded an organization called QueerVox, which teaches actors how to do voiceovers, commercials, audiobooks, and things of that nature, animation and gaming for to go beyond just doing animation or acting in live action films. And so we were able to leverage his connections because he's been in everything. JP Karliak is the boss of Boss Baby, for example, on Netflix. Most recently, he also was a voice of Morph in X-Men 97. So he is super well connected. And for example, when it came time to cast the voice for Claire, who is our old lady who tries this miraculous age-defying cream and comes back unrecognizable the next day, looking younger and revitalized and very much living her sexy old lady self, she that's Lorraine Newman. And so he knows Lorraine. He's like, Lorraine, this is crazy. Do you want to do this? And she's like, I am in, and she just rocked it in the studio too, like everyone did. So yeah, I'm glad to say that JP made some. We talked about the casting, and for example, in the beaches, we we did this like few scenes of this as a parody of the Beaches movie with the and we were looking for drag queens who have like, who are like naturally best friends. And I'm glad to say that we were able to get Jinx Monsoon and Ben de la Creme to play the Bette Midler, Barbara Hershey inspired, parody roles. And so they're like, yeah, we're totally into this. So
Oh,
JP was
fun.
able to leverage his connections. And then when, like, for example, the RuPaul's Drag Race queens found out that Darcy Drollinger, who's a local our first drag laureate in San Francisco, when they found out that she was involved in this production as well as associate producer, then they said yes for sure. They're all in.
Mhm. Wow. Yeah. So to get truly the community together to put this together and also, yeah, convey like through the characters itself, like through as you mentioned, like parodies of like certain movies and all that. So, oh, so fun. It sounds like such a fun film to create itself from like start to finish.
It was a blast, honestly. 5 years in the making, 5 years of a lot of fun and learning pretty much every day. But yeah, it's been a great trip, a great journey.
Mhm. Definitely. And thinking about how the film, does celebrate like queer empowerment and self-discovery, how important was that to you as a filmmaker?
Well, yeah, very, and I think it's only become all the more in light of where things have gone politically quite recently. I mean, when I started this project, it was more about like a sort of fun coming of age story, a love letter to drag, if you will. But over the past 5 years, we've seen these weird political cultural attacks on drag queens and trans people and the broader LGBTQ community. And especially now with the current administration in place and so many efforts to make us invisible again, you know, I think the message of empowerment is even more important. You know, I think we can interpret this film in some way about Simon recognizing that deep in himself, like any young person goes through this process of recognizing that deep in themselves there is power, and if they just learn how to tap into that power, and it is and it's the morally right thing to do to tap into that power to defend the people who are vulnerable in your community and save them from tyranny or evil. So I think that's a kind of new interpretation potentially for the spell.
Mhm. Oh, truly. Yeah, no, that was something that I was thinking about too. Like even when I was asking the question and kind of the landscape of how, America's politics is coming today. And I feel like you're important or your film is more important than ever, like to be able to showcase like this type of, culture and that, self-expression that we really need to see within ourselves and to believe in ourselves, that we really can become our own she heroes, be able to express ourselves again more freely and openly. So yeah, no, it means a lot to be able to showcase your film not only just at the festival but around the country and the world. So that's amazing. If you could expand like Maxi LaWow into a TV series or franchise, would you
Yeah,
want to explore that? Yeah.
I would love if we could get Maxi picked up for a series, and I have a bunch of stories for season one kind of ready. I think that, everything in the film has a backstory. All the characters have backstories, even if we only see them for a few minutes or for a few scenes in the film. And we did that so that we could create a rich world within this film itself, and then spin these into really fascinating stories. one great thing about this story, I think, is that it takes place in a small town where people are free to be themselves and express themselves, but also maybe a little bit like Buffy in the sense that weird things happen, some supernatural things happen, and things aren't always as they seem. And so I think that having these characters with rich backgrounds enables us to tell really fun, interesting stories and to evolve the characters. And some people call this film a little bit like Jen and the Holograms meet Scooby Doo. And again, that was on purpose because I think that I'd like to take a little bit more of a Scooby Doo kind of approach with the film, with the series, where there are these mysteries, random crazy mysteries to be solved in every episode.
Mm-hmm. No, love that and the preface of it too. Oh, so cool. And that you already like expanded into the season one. So yeah, certainly rooting for you and hopeful for you that this will expand. So yes, fingers crossed. Well, you have so many characters and so many, real life queens like within your cast already. But for a future like sequel or continuation of it, do you have a dream queen you would like to have?
Let's talk like national level and in the local level.
Yes.
So on the national level, there are a couple of queens who I love to death, and I would love to be able to get them in for cameos. And one is Barla Jean Merman, another is Coco Peru. Coco Peru is the voice of kind of like this villain in this fantastic animated series called Vivendia, Netflix, with a trans mask high school lead character, and it was fantastic. And Coco Peru was amazing. So Barla Jean Merman, Coco Peru, and Dina Martina, if I could get her, like, would be super, super cool. And then at the local level, there's so many great, well-known drag queens who are maybe more regionally, locally famous. And one of them here in San Francisco is Peaches Christ, who is really into the arts. Does so many really cool artistic programming here in the Bay Area. And I would love to get her as a guest voice in some way as well.
Ah, so cool. So shout out to them to come support Maxi LAWOW and be a part of the continuation series. So that's amazing. Well, Anthony, this has been such a fun conversation. I'm so glad to have met you today and to meet you in person at DCIFF. Is there any questions that I may not have asked or anything we didn't discuss that you wanted to share?
Oh, those are some really good questions, and the first time I've got some of those questions, so I appreciate that. And yeah, I think we did a great job of covering stuff really well. So thank you so much. I will say that, the audience to go and check out the trailer, maxxie.com. That's MAXXIE.com. There are two X's because, Max is a little extra. So MAXXIE.com.
Yeah.
And it's a link to the DCIF.
Perfect. Yes. No, awesome. So yes, please check out the trailer. And yes, the film will also be or will be showcasing on Sunday, February 16th at 7:45 at the Regal Gallery Place Theater in DC. So again, thank you so much, Anthony. And yeah, looking forward to welcoming everyone.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. See you there.
This podcast is brought to you by the DCIFF supporters. We could not be here without all of you to be sharing this amazing outlet with filmmakers from around the world. If you are interested in supporting DCIFF, head on over to our website through the link description in the bio of this episode, or you can go right to the website, which is DCIFF-INDIE.org. to connect with us and learn more about our Future of Film programs, our festival, and also more educational opportunities in what we do with our high school students, community, and beyond. We look forward to your support.